If you struggle with finding a great pair of trousers, stay tuned for today's video. Hi there, welcome to my channel. My name is Sarah and I am the Style Coach. This channel is all about helping you develop your own personal style and in doing so, increasing your confidence. Welcome if you're new to the channel, and of course, welcome back to all the regulars. It's good to see you again. So today's video is all about how to find a perfect pair of trousers. Do they exist? Well, that's what we're going to get into. When I work with clients on body shape consultations, one of the most common questions or struggles is that they can't find a pair of trousers that works for their shape. So I wanted to give you some guidelines that you can use to help you find the perfect pair of trousers. Now, there are certain things that you can keep an eye out for when it comes to shopping for a pair of trousers, be they jeans or any other type of trouser. Keep in mind that if you are buying off the rack, the trousers are not made for you. The clothes that are on the rack are made for everybody, and so they fit nobody perfectly. So most of us are going to need a little nip or a tuck or a hemming or something like that to make the trousers work perfectly for you. There are a few things that I'm going to share with you now that you can look out for to help get you as far as you can in the way of finding that perfect pair of trousers when you're in the shops. I'm going to be using some of my own trousers here to show you what I'm talking about. And even the trousers that I'm wearing today, I'll show you as well. And they actually happen to be a pair of trousers that I made. And actually I made the waistcoat as well, the entire outfit I made. I made them with these guidelines in mind, because once you know what works for you, well, you can make it yourself if you have the skills to do so, or you can get really refined in finding those items in the shops, and then you can go to your tailor and say, you know what, I need an inch taken in here, I need this, I need that, and you know exactly what you're looking for. So let's just get into the video. So the first thing is, you've got to know where you want to highlight on your body. If you don't know where to highlight, well, then the focus can go anywhere and there's no intention. So you may end up highlighting a part of yourself that you may not want to. And we all have those little insecurities, and that's fine. And most of us are concerned with covering up something or playing down something. And that's all well and good. However, when we play down something, the attention has to go somewhere. So it's good to know where you'd rather the attention to go. One of the things I talk about with my clients in a body shape consultation is called strategic lines. And this is where things like waistbands hit you, or the length of coats in other instances. We're talking about trousers here today. So in this case, it's about that waistband. Where do you want that waistband to hit you? For me, my strategic line is high up on my waist. It's kind of where my belly button is. Now, I'm long-waisted. I've quite a long torso. So for me, it's finding that point that is quite high up on my waistline. So knowing that strategic point of your waistline is really key. This serves to do a couple of things. If you want to highlight your waist, which is what I want to do, then that is where your waistband will be. The other thing is you can lengthen your legs by making your waistband higher. Don't forget though, if you cover it up with a long top, well, then it defeats the purpose of your strategic line, right? So it's also about how you pair your trousers with whatever top you're wearing. There's no point in having a high waistband and that's your strategic line if you cover it up. So it's all about how you style the entire outfit. I say that to people all the time. One piece of clothing does not make an outfit. So take all of these points as simple guidelines, not hard rules, not fixed rules, but guidelines in terms of what to look out for, but knowing that you can change it up when you know how to style it. Let's say the place you want to highlight is your bum. If you wear really loose, baggy trousers, it's not going to do anything for your bum. So you're going to choose different materials, something that fits closer to the body so that your bum is highlighted. If you like the shape of your legs, you're going to also want to choose something that hugs the body. So knowing where you want to highlight is absolutely key. Now let's talk about where you want to downplay. For me, I want to downplay my legs. I want to highlight my waistline, but my legs, you know, I'm okay if they're covered up. And I don't necessarily want fabrics that's going to hug my body too closely. I prefer something looser on my body. Therefore, I know I'm going to choose a wider leg that's going to sit away from my body. So get clear on what it is that you want to highlight and what you want to downplay, and take note of the rest of the points in line with that. You've got to figure that out first before you move on to the next points. Now, point number 2, know your proportions, both lateral and vertical. Your lateral proportions is the relationship between the width of your shoulders, the width of your waist, and the width of your hips. So most of us have heard of the triangle shape or the pear shape or the inverted triangle shape, the hourglass, all of these shapes. But what does it mean when it comes to finding trousers? So when it comes to your lateral proportions, we're basically creating balance for the most part. So I'm going to keep this really simple. If you are wider on the top, you want to bring balance with wider leg trousers on the bottom. If you are narrower on the top, you want to choose something narrower on the bottom. If you're fairly equally proportioned, your weight is distributed or your measurements are distributed equally, well then you want to maintain that balance by not going too skinny or too wide. In terms of vertical proportions, this is going to dictate how high you go in your waistline as well. So taking me as an example, I have a long torso and my legs are shorter in relationship to my torso. Now, nobody else is going to notice this, but I see it and I know what works best in terms of my vertical proportions. I go for a higher waistline with a wider leg trouser. This lengthens my leg and also brings balance to my shoulders. So it's doing two things with the one pair of trousers. If you are shorter in the waistline, you may not want to go for such a high waist because it's just going to eat up too much of your waistline. You may want to go for a mid-rise in that case. If you're enjoying this video, can I please ask you to like the video, subscribe if you haven't already, and if you're really finding value in it, perhaps you'll consider giving some super thanks and I'd be super grateful. Let's move on to the next point. Now let's talk about fabrics. Fabrics play a major role in how trousers look on the body. So I'm going to show you a few of my own examples here. I'm going to start with one of the stiffest materials that you're going to find in trousers, and that is 100% cotton jeans. If you were to give these a pull, there's absolutely no give in them. So they're quite a stiff fabric. You wouldn't call these a fluid fabric. If the wind blows, they're not going to be this billowy fabric that moves. They're quite stiff, they hold their shape. So you've got to think about, well, how is that going to affect the shape of things on my body? First of all, if you're particularly curvy, you will find perhaps that 100% cotton is not going to be terribly comfortable on the body because there is no stretch. So you're going to probably have to go up a size in this style of trousers just to get that comfort level. I would recommend finding a 2% elastane in your trousers if you prefer something that has a little bit of give in them. So this straight boxy style of trouser will certainly give some weight, visual weight to the bottom of the body, balancing perhaps a fuller upper half. Just keep in mind that if you are curvy, these are probably not going to work very well. You're probably going to want something with a little bit of stretch in them to give you that comfort level. Let's talk about something a little bit more fluid. These are silk trousers. These are kind of on the opposite end of the spectrum in terms of structure. There's very little structure in these. So if you are somebody who's concerned with things like cellulite or textured skin and it being visible underneath trousers, this is probably not going to be great for you. It's not going to give a lot of support and any lumps or bumps are going to be quite visible on you. Most of us have cellulite or textured skin, so don't even worry about that, but you may wish to choose a different style of trousers. Now, keep in mind, a good pair of underwear underneath will solve that problem. The wide fluid drape of these, again, will suit someone who feels fuller on the upper half because the wide leg and fluidity is going to bring balance to the upper half. Here I've got a viscose and rayon mix with a touch of nylon in it. So these are, again, something that sits further away from the skin. So once it sits away from the skin, it gives balance to a wider upper half. These are very lightweight, and again, much like the silk trousers, are not going to give you much support if you feel like you're maybe a little bit sad in the bum or droopy, for want of a better word. But it's not going to hold you up or suck you in. So keep that in mind. So there are benefits to a stiffer fabric. They are going to give you structure. However, there's less given them the more structure they are. On the other side, you've got the very lightweight trousers that will not give you any structure or help or boost, but will give you the width on the leg. Skinnier styles of trousers are going to suit someone who's narrower on top. So generally speaking, when we get something that's slimmer fitting on the body, there's going to be a little bit of stretch for movement. If they're too tight and there's no stretch, well, they're going to be really uncomfortable and you're not going to be able to sit down or move much in them anyway. So as soon as you get closer to the body, get a little bit of stretch in them. The higher the elastane in your garment, the stretchier they will be and the less durable they'll be. So let's take a skinny pair of jeans, for example, something fitting close to the leg. Most of us will do well with 98% cotton and 2% elastane. This is a beautiful combination because it's going to give structure on the body. It's going to give us that lift in the bum if we want it and a nice hug on our curves, but it's going to give us a little bit of stretch to make it just a little bit more comfortable. So we've got that balance of durability and stretch and comfort. So we've talked about wider upper halves and narrower upper halves. What if you're very balanced in your proportions, top and bottom? Well, then you're going to want to maintain your proportions. Whether you go wide in your trousers, you're going to want to think about how you're going to balance that on top. If you go slimmer on the trousers, you're also going to want to think about how you're going to balance that on top. I'll repeat myself over and over. One piece of clothing does not make an outfit. So understanding how wide your trousers are will often dictate what you wear on the upper half, particularly if you are already balanced. Now let's talk about color and patterns. Very simply, lighter, brighter colors are going to draw attention to that part of the body. Darker, plainer fabrics are going to downplay that area. You've got to think about, well, what do I want to do? Do I want to draw attention to that part of my body, or do I want to downplay that part? Take, for example, 2 pairs of trousers. One that's highly patterned and interesting, one that's more plain, just with a small stripe down the side. So immediately, these are going to draw the attention to the legs. Is that what you want to do? Or do you want to downplay that part of the body? Similarly, a louder color is going to draw more attention than, again, a black pair of trousers. Consider what it is you want to achieve when you're using different colors and patterns. Also, when it comes to patterns, not all patterns are made the same. They're not made equally. The larger the print is, the bigger that part of the body shape can appear. The smaller the print is, the less impact it has, and so it's not going to draw attention to that area the same way as a larger print. So keep that in mind when choosing your trousers. Now let's talk about closures and waistbands. Where your closures are situated can play a part in how your overall look appears. If you have a zip detail down the front, it can often be bulky, whereas if it's on the side or even the back of the body, well then it's less obvious and gives a more streamlined look on the front of the tummy, which is often a concern for many people. Consider looking for closures that are not at the front of the tummy. If the fly zip is quite neat and sits close into the body, if they're made well, well then it can go fairly unnoticed and that's okay as well. But you may wish to look for something that closes on the side. When it comes to waistband, think of it like this. The wider the waistband, the more comfort and support you'll have around the tummy. The narrower the waistband, especially if it's elastic, it's not going to look great. So consider going for a wider waistband if the tummy area is a concern for you. Next up, when you're thinking about buying a pair of trousers, think about how you are intending to wear those trousers. What do you have in the wardrobe that is going to create balance for your body shape and with those trousers? So don't just buy the trousers as one piece. You've got to imagine how they're going to be working for you, functioning for you in your wardrobe. So think about how you're going to be styling them. If you think, okay, yeah, I've got a t-shirt at home, it's a high neck, okay, that could work well. Find something in the shop that's similar just to try on with the trousers. So don't just try on a pair of trousers. Consider bringing in things to the changing room that are similar to what you've got at home so you can try them out. There's no point in thinking about buying a pair of trousers because as far as I know, nobody's going to be walking out in the street just in a pair of trousers. You've got to style the entire outfit, and that is often where things kind of get complicated. So try on your trousers in the shop with the shirt, the blouse, the top, whatever it is, something similar that you intend on wearing. Whether you're going to buy it or not is a different story, but try it on with something. Even if there's shoes available, brilliant. Imagine how you're going to style this complete outfit using these pair of trousers. You'll get a much better picture and understanding of how these trousers are going to work for you. My final point is, when you're shopping for trousers, don't simply buy your size medium or large or extra large or your 16 or your 10 or 8. Don't do that. Go into the measurements and find the exact measurements. Whenever you're shopping online, this is the only time I'll advocate for people taking their measurements, is when you're shopping online. You've got to know your measurements if you're going to have success when shopping online, because you and I both know those measurements online don't mean anything. A size 12 in one shop can look different in another shop. Also, a size 12 today is very different to a size 12 from the 1940s. So forget those kind of sizing and get the measurements instead. You'll have a much better success rate when you shop like this. So I hope those tips are going to help you find the perfect pair of trousers, or at least as close as you can get. Keep in mind, you may want to alter them to get really that perfect fit. By the way, if you're interested in this level of detail and this kind of more advanced approach to styling, you'll enjoy my online course. It's an 8-week online course, The Secrets of Effortless Style, which talks about how to bring a great outfit together. It's linked down below. That's it for today's video. I do hope you enjoyed it and learned something new, and I'll see you again next week. Take care. Bye bye.